8 years old. That's how old I was when the doctors broke the news to my stunned family that my mother had 1 to 2 years left to live. We'd known something was off for a while. Short walks exhausted her, and breathing was becoming increasingly laborious and painful for her. I didn't understand what the doctors meant when they said she was suffering from pulmonary hypertension, that the echocardiogram showed her arterial pressure was too high, but my 8-year-old brain definitely understood what 1 to 2 years left meant. My parents were shocked and angry at life. I was overcome with fear and depression, scared that at any moment I might lose my mother. My father had to take care of both of us, which seemed to harden his heart. He was angry all the time. And my mother would spontaneously burst into tears, crying, "What will I do? What will my child do? I don't want to leave him this early." She was yelling this stuff all the time. She thought I wasn't listening, but I was. At school, I would constantly imagine what it would be like to return home and find out that she had passed while I was at school. I cried a lot and would ask God, why her? Why me? And the why me in particular would cause my mom to turn inward, blaming herself for what her diagnosis was putting me through. Of course, it wasn't her fault, but I was just a child. I couldn't really understand. A year, and then 2 passed, and she didn't die. The doctors were wrong. My mother did end up in several critical situations, including a 2-month coma, but she always came back to us. One day we learned that there might be hope. A special surgery. It was risky, but she decided to take that risk, saying, "I owe this to my one and only son." Doctors were reassuring as she went into the operating room. Ultimately, all the surgery did was buy her some time. It didn't do much in the way of healing her. We were heartbroken. But time passed, and I got to my late teens, and then my mother had the worst day of her life. My father took her to the hospital, hoping that everything was going to be okay. But I knew it was hopeless. The light in her eyes just wasn't there anymore. She was suffering too much. She knew I was old enough now to live without her, and now my heart hardened. For the first time, I didn't want her to recover. I was sick of worrying about her all the time. I wanted a different life, and I knew that even if it was hard, this would be better for both of us. A week later, the news arrived. She was gone. At first, I didn't feel too much pain. I convinced myself my mother would hate that. She'd want me to go on, no matter what. And then came the funeral, and every feeling I had shoved aside came rushing out of my eyes like a flood. But after that, I was calm. So calm that my dad got angry at me, accusing me of not loving her. I didn't argue with him. I knew he was suffering too. It's been 5 years now, and my dad and I are living together in Turkey. We love her and miss her so much. And inspired by that love, we march on.